to run programs without enough funding, it's crazy. So I would like to thank the team for giving the best. So what we do is that we normally meet once in a week to plan this for 2 hours, and then the rest of the week from Tuesday to Friday we go to the sessions. Um, in terms of funding, we only have crowdfunding that we're managing at the moment. That comes monthly, and sometimes it takes a while before it comes. And now we've come up with ways that we want to do local fundraising, for example, from Kick and Conserve and other mechanism that we've come up with. For example, we have, you know, together with the help of the team, we've been able to come up with a program called corporate team building, and we use these games to teach other organizations do team building with them, and they pay something small. It's quite a unique idea, and that's how we're planning to do. So you'll see more of
Mhm.
it from next year,
Hmm.
January. Yeah.
Nice. And what is your? You mentioned already briefly to try to raise more funds also locally. What has been your when we speak about locally designed and led programs? I think at some point we obviously also come to the question of finances. What has been your experience in terms of like finding businesses or donors, companies that would be keen, like let's say in Nairobi or in Kenya, that would be interested, keen to support the work you do? What has been the response, or have you tried it that far? Yeah, what has been the response from people you
Yes.
may have reached out
Yes.
to?
In the beginning, when we were starting in 2015, 2016, it was not easy to find these people who could support the program. But what we realized is that when you invite them to the session and then they see what you're doing, that perception of, just these people are just playing football and they're going home kind of fades away. So at the moment, we're working with the Diamond Trust Bank in Kenya, and they've supported the Kick and Conserve for the second year now, and that perception is changing. It's changing. So what we are doing right now is inviting these potential donors and people who could support this program to come and see how we work with children. We take them through modeling and evaluation, and how we tend to take this program even to higher levels. And it is yielding fruits slowly by slowly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that touches a little bit also on the topic we discussed last time during the webinar with David O'Byrne from Loughborough University, when we spoke about the global north, global south, and finances and where money is and so on. So I think this also, yeah, showcases and illustrates the challenges that you then also face on the financial side when it comes to sustaining a locally led and designed program.
Yeah.
I would like to yeah, basically come to a little like summary of the conversation and interview we had over the past 20 25 minutes. If you could summarize from your perspective, what are some of the important pillars that made it possible for you to design and start your own program, your own organization?
Aha. So first, it was the contact with CSC, and I've mentioned it in the beginning. The contact with
Hmm.
CSC and Nick in the early stages before I could decide, what I wanted to do with my life, and then um, becoming a community impact coach that made a big difference. The mentorship that I got from you, from Nora, from Charlie, from Adam, from Brian, these people, you guys are so amazing. So I was able to learn different things from you, and I would analyze them. And then volunteering in other communities, the CIC, writing a wiser, and seeing how other people process issues. Another one was online education program, our creating games, um, feeling the columns, that how was the game, was the reaction. It helped me to see the program, or Green Kenya, from a bird's eye view.
Mm.
Um, Attending many virtual, webinars.
Yeah.
I remember one day Adam said, it's very important on how you know, gather information, these stories, and who do you share with, and then why do you want to share with them. So that one really, changed my perspective. And then
Mhm.
the belief that I had what it takes to develop this program. And I think this is what CSC teaches the coaches, that you can be a self-directed learner. You are a leader, so what you need to do is just to take the lead, and that's what I did. And then lastly is, I had people who mentored me and who talked to me here in Nairobi, but after telling them what I wanted to do, and I said, from now henceforth, this is what I'm going to do with my life, and
Mhm.
that's how things changed.
And could you name any personal qualities? Like you explained now a lot of events that happened in your life that helped you progress and move forward. Could you describe any personal qualities that you explored in yourself, that that you discovered within yourself, that helped you, that gave you that drive to move to where you are today?
Very good. Yeah, yeah. I saw a number of qualities in myself as amazing, that I was, identifying things in my life.
Hmm.
So one of them was the belief that I can do this. That was the main thing. That was the belief. If Nora could stand and talk, I think I
Hmm.
could do this. If Adam
Hmm.
could come and talk, I could do this. So that conviction in itself
Hmm.
helped me to rise above board. And then number two, um, the urge, or the appetite to make the difference in my life and in the life of many young people. And
Hmm.
then another one would be leadership in me. I just came to realize after doing all this that, I'm a leader because I decided to take the lead, and I stuck with that uh,
Hmm.
direction. So maybe what I can say is that, see, when you're starting, you really don't know how things will turn out, but as you do it, many things open up, and that
Hmm.
is what I can tell my friends who are still, taking thinking of taking the step or going backward. Just decide and dive in. You will learn to
Mm.
swim, go along. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, that happens. I think also when I can say from my own experience when I started to work with CAC, and I think I can speak for my colleagues as well, that we also sometimes getting thrown into the water, and then you just need to start swimming, and you learn as you go. I think that's yeah, as you said, a very important quality to have, and also something to remember when taking new steps.
Just
Um,
um,
yeah.
Marcus, just one thing.
Yes.
I think this is very, very important to everybody, that start with what you have and where you are. I remember, when you came to the field, or Nick or Nora, they'll say, let's use the bottle, let's use what is there to implement the session. The cons, the
Hmm.
balls will come as you go along, but use what you have in the place that you are
Yeah.
in. Other things will
Hmm.
fall in place.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then this will be now my last question. It would be kind of the opposite. What did you see were the biggest obstacles for you, or fears, concerns you had, that you had to fight, that you had to face, that you had to overcome, and that others may face as well, who think about starting something new in their life, whatever it may be.
Very good.
If you could share that, please.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Number one is that, the fear of other organizations that have been there before. This, you know, I could feel a lot of butterflies in my stomach when I saw this other organization coming and requesting to do the their program in the school that I went. And then number two was that other people look at you like still young, inexperienced, you're alone, you're not even sure what you're doing, and that thing sometimes will hit me so hard that I will say, why am I doing what I'm doing? But if you continue, the belief kicks in. Then number two is that uh, the resources that you want or you would like to get so that the program can move the direction that you want sometimes are not easy to come by, and you have to work so hard, even go do other job to get money so that you can run this program or what you believe in. So the main things are other organizations, they believe that you can do it, and then the resources to run this uh, kind of program.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you, David, for sharing. I would now, like to open the floor. Thank you for all these information and for sharing your story. I think for me, it's obviously a little bit easier to understand since I've met you and since I've been with you. But I'm also grateful for everybody who follow this interview and who has never met you
Yeah.
before. So I want to give now the opportunity to our participants, to our listeners, to ask questions that they may have, or comments that they may want to make. We can also certainly go back to certain topics and aspects we discussed during this interview. So please, share your questions. It's already coming in there. I don't know if you can see that, David.
Yeah.
Nora is asking, what's next for you, Mulo, as she calls you?
Yes.
What do you dream of doing?
So that is this something that has been in my mind. Green Kenya is expanding, and what we are doing right now is to come up with another arm in Green Kenya that will be Green Kenya Consultancy Department that will be working with different schools and different institutions to teach them how they can use sports to even enhance the productivity of their participants or their staff to know that sports is not only running in the field, but you can use it to teach your children to be better people, to be leaders, and to take care of our environment. So that department is coming up soon, and then we also believe that we will use this methodology not only in Nairobi but different parts of Kenya and even outside Africa.
Oh, wow. Awesome. There's one, I'm jumping, I don't know if you have reading the questions as well. I would
Second.
briefly jump Vince's question. We will get back to it, but I think Charlie's question is a little bit similar. So probably you could, continue explaining. Charlie is asking, you mentioned holding some train the trainer and CAC style training in the coming months. So it is like, can you explain that? How is that related to the things we have talked about, the current existing programs?
Very good.
Is that something new that will start?
Yes, yes. So Charlie's question falls under the consultancy department that I told you, because we've had other people calling us in different places to come and teach their coaches on how to do these games and work with their children, and other teachers also want us to come and train them on how to teach in a fun way. So from next month, um, I will be in Mombasa, and I will meet with some of the coaches and teachers and do a plan and see when we can start training them. So we've also been called in Western Kenya to go and do kick and conserve tournament to different teams. So this is something that is in the pipeline. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you. I can see there has been so many questions coming in. I don't know why didn't I see them before?
Many,
Um, uh, Yeah, sorry. There was one question that I definitely would like to get to. That was Vincent's. There's, I think, two questions. One question was about parents. Did you have any problems from parents for girls to participate?
Very good. That is very important. In the beginning, about Gallup, even girls, some of them asked me, "Why are you doing this program and you're a man?" And the answer that I gave them is that, I have sisters and I would like to give you the best just as I give my sisters. So actually, what happened was one parent came to the school, but it was a positive thing. She came and asked the teacher, "Why is it that I'm seeing my child, changing nowadays? She doesn't hide some of her panties under the bed, and she's now facing me and talking to me." And the teacher was not able to know what was happening. So they went to the sports teacher and asked them questions, and then I was called. So I explained what we were doing, and they started supporting us. They used to come to the field and see what we are doing. In fact, they told their girls to come and attend the session. So it
Mm-hmm.
worked for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I think knowing Vince and his organization, I think he might be facing similar challenges with girls participating in sport. I think there is in many communities still the belief and the tradition that yeah, girls are not for sport, or girls and a sports field that doesn't go together. So I think, yeah,
Yes.
thank you for explaining how you tackled that.
Thank you.
um, there was another question I saw from Elvis. Why you have called Green Kenya Green Kenya? I think
Very
if yeah, how did you choose that name?
So, one, we called ourselves Green Kenya because I believe that, and our team believe that, where there's green, there is life, you know, and we are all green because there is something that is in us that, is yielding fruits that we are trying to, share with other people. So the name Green Kenya is, we just said, what we want to do is we want to spark or reach out to many people. We cannot reach out to many people when we are dry and, we don't produce anything. So we just call ourselves Green. And then the program is taking place in Kenya. So that's how the name Green Kenya came up. And if you look
Hmm.
critically, there is a hyphen in between Kenya, Green and Kenya. There are
Hmm.
many other Green Kenyas doing different things, but if you put this hyphen, you will be able to find, what we are doing, and that's how we just decided to call ourselves Green Kenya. I hope
Mm.
one day we will change the name to maybe Green Kenya Internationals. I don't know.
Yeah, I have read now Nora's comment about Green Kenya in Colombia. It would be a wonderful idea. And Lena commented on it and said like, yeah, nothing better than waking up in Colombia with this. Okay. There's another question from Vince who was saying, in the Kick on Conserve tournament, how do you integrate the conserve element?
Very good. So what we do, like I said, the kick and conserve is divided into three. So we come up with theme of the tournament. If it is about water, if it's about trees, if it's about our environment and how we look at nature, and then we design the game that we use, to teach children how to take care about, for example, the environment, trees, water, or any other topic about the environment. And then we have coaches teaching, doing these sessions with children. And then after they themselves discuss. So there's a way that we give them points. And then after doing all these two activities, they now go to play football. That's why I say that you cannot win this tournament by just winning football. If you focus on football and if one of your participants misses, then you've already automatically lost. And
Hmm.
then before the final is played, we plant trees in every school that Kick and Conserve has been played. We've been planting
Mm.
trees. So last time we planted like 20, and this is just
Uh-huh.
because the area was small, we couldn't plant more. Our dream is that all the children that are participating in this tournament will plant at least one tree in their life. That would be
Oh,
like
wow.
500 trees in one
Uh-huh.
kick and go.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I know from Vince. Yeah, he's already stealing your ideas. If he could, I think Vince, if you could probably start planting animals or something, or to, bringing animals into this world. As I know that World Parks World Cup, the organization that Vince represents, is focusing on conserving the animal life in the Kruger National Park and northern South Africa. There was another question from Pedro, who apologizes that he was coming a bit late, but who was wondering about the youth leaders program that you implement, how that is progressing, how that is working.
So I talked about it initially. So what we did or what you're doing, it's just like when we've done the sessions and then you give your participants to do a coach back. So that's how we identify the leaders that we can one day invite and do the sessions with us. So we are still in the developmental stages about this, and that's why we started the children who are in the schools. Of course, there are other young people who are you know promising leaders outside there, but you have to start in the school, and then slowly we will expand to these other leaders in the community. So maybe if I can just go back a little bit for Pedro, what we do is that in October and a month like this, before the schools are closed, we give participants, we divide them in groups of 3 or 2, and then we give them a chance to implement any session that we did with them from February, and then they teach it to
Hmm.
their peers. So as even the coaches, we are also part of this team. So we learn from them. Yeah. So that's how we're implementing this leadership program and uh, identifying the youth leaders.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, then there was another question from Carrie Ann asking, how do you or do you feed this information into your national sports development program? Actually, I don't know if something like that exists in Kenya, but yeah, you can explain, David.
Very good. At the moment, we've only had a chance to meet with some of the officials from football, from Kenya Football Federation, just once, and this is something that we want to push from next year so that they can also come and see what we are doing. But we've not engaged deeper with them. I hope that they'll be able to realize that this program can also help those people who are in elite sports, and they can also play part.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I also see now there's another Carrie Ann commented on her own question, said like, for instance, all your community programs being executed. Do you meet with government officials to share your successes, lessons? Ah, yeah, sorry. Now I understand. I think she is explaining her question a little bit.
Uh-huh.
So, do you, based on the programs that you run and that you execute, do you meet then with government officials to share the successes, impacts, the lessons you have learned, the challenges you are facing? So, is there any involvement from, yeah, governmental side or any officials in that?
What normally happens is that we have a these county government officers, and what is supposed to happen, and we've been doing this, that they get the report that we've written, annual report, and then they go share this at a higher level. We've not met with any of them so far,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking forward to have this engagement with them because we have a lot of lessons that we've learned, some of the things that we think worked, and
Mm-hmm.
they implemented in a higher level. They'll be able to change our community and our children, but we've
Yeah.
not had these meetings with them.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Then there's another question from Lina asking about how diverse or different are the groups that you are working with. I'm assuming now, please correct us, Lina, if I'm assuming wrong. You mean probably like socioeconomic differences of the participants, or I don't know, geographic differences between the participants who are joining. I don't know if you could explain a little bit along those lines. Yeah, the setup and the conditions of the groups you're working with, David.
So,
Or religious differences, Charles just brought in as well, like religious beliefs or
okay,
congregation.
you've been in Nairobi, Marcus, and Nairobi is a cosmopolitan, if I might call it. We have different, communities and even people from other countries in Nairobi. And so what we do is that we don't choose our participants based on color, race, or the religion. What we do is that if you're willing to join, then you're ready
Uh-huh.
to join. So we don't really look into that, because if you start, then
But
we'll
But
prevent many.
would you say you have that represented? So would you have diverse groups? Like if you work at the school, would you have diversity when it comes to religion? Would you have diversity when it comes to nationality? Things like
Yes,
that.
yes, we do have that. We do
Okay.
have that,
Nice.
and you'll find that many of these people, they come from poor background, and many a times they don't even look at that. They don't look at you are from this community or you're from this country. In children, you don't see that, and that's what makes our program interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
um, many of these people, some of the children are orphaned, and
Uh-huh.
the place they call home is in school. Um, some of the parents are even unemployed, so they think that by bringing the children in school and just leaving them there, that's all. So
Yeah.
for us, it has worked, and you don't look at religion or anything else that might stop
Uh-huh.
us from getting those results.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. There's still more questions coming in, so I will keep on going.
Yes,
Although we are already over
sure,
time.
sure.
So if people, I'll just say quickly, if people really need to leave because their time is limited, which we understand. Thank you for joining in. We will try to get through as many questions as possible. We'll definitely stop at the full hour, so we have about 5 minutes left. But thank you everyone for engaging so much. And certainly thank you for joining in. Yeah, let me just go to the next question from Vince, following up on Elvis's question. If you could explain a little bit how you do M&E after this month that you focus on a certain topic with, I think he refers to the community impact, community
Impact
impact
program.
program. Yeah, community impact program.
Mhm.
And yeah, do the kids get something? Probably like I don't know if they get a certificate or if they like yeah I don't know have a follow up. Do they have a questionnaire? Or like how do you do that with them?
Very good. So we have a number of ways that we do mounting and evaluation, and one of them is that um, we ask them the questions that we that the questions that we ask before and after, and some of them are just related to the same one, like that of CSE. Just ask them how many of you have played, football in the last maybe 1 month. How many of you have planted trees in this number of months in their lives. So that is one way. And then the second way is that we give them two questionnaires, and we ask them from a scale of 1 to 10, how many marks can they give themselves? Basically, we're looking at how do they trust or believe in themselves. And then number two is that, from 1 to 10, give yourself marks based on how do you think you're a leader or not. And then they give us the marks. And then from this, we'll be able to determine, okay, so and so believes that he is a leader, and from 1 to maybe this number, or from 1 to 4, and then we'll go deeper with them and ask them, why do you believe this, you know, and and then we'll go ask the teachers, okay, why do you think this child is behaving, for example, maybe different in class, and why do you think this one comes up? So there are a number of ways that we do this monitoring and evaluation. Another one is we give them a paper and we ask them to write anything that they've learned from this program. Just write like 2 paragraphs or as much as they could write. And then after we'll come and analyze, okay, they understood this topic better than the other one. And then we look at, okay, why did it happen this way? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think it sounds like a nice combination also of qualitative and quantitative data that you collect in order to get feedback from the children. Thank you. I would go on to the next one. Nora was asking if you could, and I will ask you for a brief answer, please, David, just because of time. But the question is, if how do you collaborate with other local NGOs that may use different methodologies or have a different approach, like Football Mass or VAP?
Very good. We've been having a talk with, for example, Football Mass about learning some methods of monitoring and evaluation and how we can strengthen our relationship or ties between these 2 organizations so that we learn from each other, and it has been productive. From VAP, it's amazing that from OT and then the rest. Sometimes we ask each other questions, and I'm looking forward to a meeting where Football Mass, VAP, and Green will sit down and say, okay, this is the major issue here. How can we, tackle it? Yeah.
Nice. So basically, did I understand it correctly? This collaboration is also still growing, and you're trying to still figure out how to best navigate that and
Sure.
move
Yes.
forward. Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Nora.
And yeah, there was one question. I think you've partly answered it, but there was from Carrie Ann. What is your source of what is the source of income that you have to operate your activities, and how do you ensure sustainability of your programs?
Okay, I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're doing crowdfunding from different sources. One is local. It's called Mchanga, where different people can donate to you, and then this organization sends the money to you, and then the other one is global giving. So different people give, and then at the end of the month we receive the money to run the programs. Of course, it's not enough, but we try and spread it a bit so that the programs don't halt or just stop, And then she mentioned something about, it was source. Yes, okay, I've answered it.
And I think then we have the final question from Vince. What is the main language do you use? He's asking about English, and then or your home language, which would be Swahili. Like, do you like what is the language that you use for your programs when interacting with your participants, with the children?
We use English and Swahili most of the time, but we have the mixture of English and Swahili. We call it Sheng. So you might not understand it that much if you are not from these communities. So for children to understand this, we use just mixture of English and Swahili. Yeah, but the main language, when we are starting the session in the beginning of the year, we use English and Swahili a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Asante sana, Nora.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, so we went a little bit over the hour, but yeah, thank you again for joining into this webinar. It seems like everybody is very excited. Wonderful. I think I would like to thank you, David, for being with us today. I think I can close with one of Nora's comments, if I find it and if I remember it correctly. But Nora said something like, "Yeah, you've been inspiring us with what you have said, and also with who you are and what you do.
Thank you.
So thank you for inspiring us for the past 60 minutes. It's been really a pleasure to have you. And yeah, not just the past 60 minutes, but particularly in this past 60 minutes and obviously in the past 6 years, as Nora
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, David, for being with us.
Thank you.
And we certainly look forward to have similar webinars in the future. If I am informed correctly, then I think in November we will do something on child rights. Nora, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that will be the focus because there is a global day coming up at the end of November that we will be celebrating. And most of you have probably also seen the emails that you have received from your process consultants in regards to child rights and child protection policies. So November will be a huge focus on that. So we will, do a webinar that evolves around that topic of child protection and child rights. But
Yeah.
I think we also have the idea to continue with showcasing more organizations from our amazing network of people that we have in future. To inspire each other and to share knowledge and use this way to collaborate with each other.
That's
So
amazing.
again.
Thank you very much, Marcus.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you to everyone for being joining this webinar. Have a good afternoon or evening or morning, wherever you are in the world, and see you soon. Asante sana.
Cheers. Thanks.